This is a Timeless Voices of Aviation interview being conducted at the Experimental Aircraft Association Museum in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Today is the 1st of August 2013. The time is 11:55 a.m. My name is Eric Rudd, and there are numerous other people in the room with me. My interview subject is Mr. David L. Bourne. Would you please say and spell your full name?
David L. Bourne, as you said, D-A-V-I-D, L, and Bourne is just plain B-O-R-N.
When and where were you born?
In Syracuse, New York.
And what year? What
1923, December 11th.
And what is your earliest aviation recollection?
A friend of mine who had a big effect on my whole flying area, life, whatever, but he was way ahead of me starting. And very quickly, he had a little model of an airplane. And he came over to my house one time. And we put a shade down in the basement, and we had strings going up and down. And we could sit there with a stick and the rotors and stuff when we get all through, so we could make a turn and everything. No wonder he wanted it, but that was my first really indicate something together with him. And the next thing would be, he moved to a little area, but we still got together. And he was working at an airport, Syracuse Amboy in those days it was. And a lot of people go up for chest, and they have to put ballast in to get ready. So if you want to come out, I'll get you a ride, you'll be the ballast. So that was my first ride, which I thought was really great. So, okay, but now the big thing that he did for my life, the war started in 41, of course, and I was 17. 4 days later, I'm 18. But anyway, I'm in college, and at that point, my first year, in the mid to later part of the summer, within 10 months, 9 to 10 months, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, there's a movie, it's a big on movie, whatever." And it was an airplane flying, fighter plane, a tow brake. I'm not sure the name of it, but anyway, he's flying, doing all kinds of acrobatics, and there's some clouds in there, and he's up and down on it, and he said, "It's supposed to be great." I went and I took one look at that and said, "Absolutely, that's what I want to do. The heck with school, I'm going to enter." So, and I went in to sign up for it. Now I'm second year. And they got all through it and stuff like that, and they took my health and can I be competent physically to go. We're all saying was said, and he said, "Well, okay, we won't be calling you up until you finish school." That would have been 2.5 years. It would have been 1945, and the war was over in that time in oversight. So, but the long story, I won't go into it, but for some reason, all of a sudden, the Army said, which is their part of the Army, "You can't keep these many people at that time." So they had to pick me up right away. Instead of 2.5 years, it was 2.5 months. And so they called me up, and then everything went on flying through flying school until it was first flying, and you might be interested in something maybe nobody else happened to them in their time, but the first primary was a civilian guy, but he loved acrobatics. And of course, what I saw on that thing, that this was just what I was looking at. And he must have found in me something that he wanted to play with. So we didn't do the regular things, we just played. I mean, five hours or something, or implements and all that kind of stuff, and rules and loops. And so now in about less than 10 hours after I finally soloed, we've been working on that, and I thought, I'm going to try something he hasn't mentioned, and I'll see if I can do this. So one of the plane I was with was this 19, and that one you can be upside down. So what I tried is upside down, and it flew right a little bit and didn't fight so bad, whatever. So the next time I went up on myself, I figured I'm going to try 90 degrees. So I got the upside down, 90 degrees and back out, and at that early, whatever. But so he never asked me, remember, he never taught me any of that. But I finally told him, I want something to show you. So we did the very last time we went up. So I did there, and it went all swing, held my element and whatever. And I figured we had tubes, he had whatever. And I thought, he'll come up and say, you know, good job or something like that. Nothing. What? I look back there, nothing back there. Of course, he's an open cotter. It's plain, as I'm sure you know, but other people might not. And what happened? So, oh, I know what he's doing, hiding down there. So the stick, when I move my stick, his back there will move it. So I was as hard as I could, still nothing. And I'm looking, no, the next thing I'm looking for parachutes with somebody hooked to it. No sign of that, so I scattered back to where we came from. As I'm pulling off onto where we were, he came up from behind, laughing like crazy. So that was the beginning. There's a big reason for that. Otherwise, without that, I probably never will be sitting here. So I get to buy a basic. For some reason or other, I could not figure out where the ground was. I want to land up way or maybe 20 down feet, which is not very happy. And so the guy, he was very happy with my flying because of what I got that. So he held me, normally it was 4, 6 hours. If you haven't soloed, they're gone because we've already flown. But 7 hours, it's gone. Goodbye, sorry. But this guy was still hanging on to me. He took me up to 6 hours and 45 minutes. And he said, you've got a problem with your eyes. I'm going to send you to the hospital. So I went over to the hospital. They couldn't find anything, do anything. But in the course of it, they put some drops in. And you can't fly for 2 weeks. So now when I go back, this lovely guy, he said, put out a load out, said he was hospitalized. We got to start over. So I was to the next, almost the whole next. I had 16 hours and 45 minutes and 78 practice landings before they finally soloed me. So after that, things were a little bit normal. A little bit slow when I got the AT6. But now the next thing I go is in the P40. It's the first time period, no problem. So after that, I really had no problem. They're never good. All the way through combat, we always have our doctor would get out and see the best 4 and the worst 4. Just about every time, it's one of the last bad ones. But so everything went on through, and we would, every time there's slow here and there, this thing. But anyway, one of the nicest flying that I had was after I got my wings, we got some firing in the air, and all we did was just do that. We got in the plane, we go up and ran through use our ammunition up, and we go back and wait a while or something, and bango, we're up in there as many as 5 or 6 times a day. And it was only a week and a half or something, but I can still look at that as, oh, it's just a wonderful thing to do. And it's just right up my alley. I enjoyed that. But okay, then we went on into the P40. We got a little over 100 hours ready to do the military aspect of it rather than the flying aspect of it. So we went overseas, and we never flown the 51. So there's a place they send you. You'll get 10 hours in that. Then they send to your squadron. And they go through a lot of different things, so that's another string wings, because when they say one word maybe, told me a whole sentence, so I know what I'm doing and stuff. And so finally I got on my gun, finally on a mission, and I think it was about the 2nd or 3rd mission, there was a sign of some bogeys. And so we're 3 squadrons, and I'm in the 3rd back here, and the ones in the front were closer. And the next thing I hear him say, we don't know what it is, but we think it's some Germans, so drop banks. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking. They're just there now, and planes going down like crazy. I can't do something like that. Mama, take my wing out of my front window. But anyway, I understood it. But so after that, We got all the way to Berlin and stuff many times. But I'm a wingman, so as you well know, a wingman is a wingman. He goes out as one, he comes back as one. This guy, he does the shooting. But what you're doing is let him concentrate on that, so that when I'm looking around and back, he doesn't have to worry about that, because if he can trust me, he'll make sure. So I never really got into that, because we never got further than that, because by the time we got with them, the planes would come down and into the down from out of the sky or something, out of the sun, but from their area. But they're getting close to them. We can't get in between them and help them. So there's Robin Olds, that was my CO, and then another guy, can't come up with his name right at the moment, Zemke. I don't know if you probably know that name. He was always told him that we can do a better job than that. We'll leave some of them there, but we will take a lot of us. We'll go out. We'll see if we can find the Germans when they're getting together. So you had up, if I'm right, 40 to 50 people in that. So if you can bust them up, then they're very ineffective compared to what they would be normally. So this time, finally, we got to a point where we did do that, and with Robin Olds heading it, whatever, he pushing for that all the time. And we went after them, and they broke all up and everything, and I'm a wingman. And then, so they found 3 German planes, and they saw us coming, so they went 3 around the circle. And he went down to hit one, so as he went in on that guy, I come up like this, so I can see really good what's doing. Well, then the guy that's behind me, he's trying to get his nose up, and actually he was pointing straight at me, and I can still see, looking down the barrels, and here's the fire coming out of him, but he's not going to. Okay, he's never being able to set me, because by the time it gets there and somewhere else. But I called my element leader. I said, this guy's getting ambushed. Be ready to break when I tell you. So now when he's coming down this time, I can see he had enough speed. He's going to be able to do it. So I called him and said, break hard. So after that, I have no idea. I didn't know then. That didn't come up into my mind in a sleep or something another time, for whether it was 5 minutes or 5 seconds. But the next thing I know, there's a German plane, and I'm coming down on him, but I'm way too fast. And so I duck underneath him, and he hadn't seen me. And I couldn't slow down the doggone plane. You could get it go fast, but I couldn't get it go slow. And pretty soon I'd be in front of him again, and he got to shoot me perfectly. So I was just about to make a split S to get out of the way out of there. He made a gentle turn to the left, so now I could go out to the side, and I pulled back in, and he did. The old saying is that the person you don't see, that's the one that's going to show you down. And it was exactly this now. It wasn't a dogfight, it was just gentle deal, and I just got my deal, and put my head on him, and he probably didn't know he was there until he was getting hit. And so that was the end of him. But when I was following him down till we went through a cloud, and I saw a piece of his plane, I figured I better get out of here. If I pick up one of them, I'll be down with him. So we went on from there, and this is the one that counts as the air, but we also had a chance of going firing some ground planes. So this time, with P-51, we were up 7 hours on this trip. We took off, took the big batters, they were the big planes, and we were going to Czechoslovakia. So we went all the way there. We saw a field with a lot of planes on it. So we come all the way back there, got the okay to go there over again. So we go back to Czechoslovakia. And what you do is, how much artillery, how much fire did they have for us? So they went, 2 of us go down. I was the second one. And the others are way out and look at it, but it was loaded with it. So when the guy got in front of me, got beat around about 10,000 feet. Every the black field, as you well know, because they could explode. They don't want to do it down there, so they send kill up there. So that was it. If they're looking at him that well, what are they gonna? They'll be ready for me. So I got down on that, and I'm in there, and I'm a long way. I go over here, and I saw a plane over there, so I'll shoot at that. I went over the top of it. It was bar, 2x4s with tank over it, and there was no plane there at all. So we went looking around, and in Austria, somebody saw the tail of an airplane. So we went down and looked at it, and we found out before we got all done, we got 14 planes out of that. But I set one in the shed, and I saw that, and I could set that in the shed. So now here's where something I might have not happened before. There was no way could I find anything else, any planes. And this was not a place with a bureaucrat contract and whatever. It was just grass, and there was two of them. And it looked like a road went between the two, which would not be unusual, but they didn't touch. That didn't seem right. So I told my wingman, said, I'm going down and see what that is, see what it is. So I fired at it, and he come down later on. He said there was 3 planes in there. You got 2, I got 1. So I got of getting 4 planes. 2 of them I never even saw. And probably, if I'd seen them, I would have missed them. But they did fly. See, those other planes, they didn't have enough gasoline. So they were to bring you in, but there's no gasoline, they're going to blow up.
Tell me about the New York National Guard.
Well, can I tell you one quick story what I had with the 51 over there right after the war? And I played around with the car. My roommate, we worked like crazy on each other. But one day I was all alone. What am I going to do? So we got up to 30,000, a little more before. So this time I went up to 37,000. And I looked at a beautiful morn, and I'm seeing my contrail behind me. So I wanted to go back and look at it, so I got to it. I flew it a few times and ride it, and I got so big that I could be inside and you could not see outside. And I could see the shadow of that along the ground, something I'd never seen anybody else see or whatever. But meantime, the next thing I did was I said, never split S from that handle. Why not? So I did that, and I go down, just barely got into that, boom, and the plane started, the sticks going back and forth, and the plane's going back and forth. All I could do is pull the throttle off and pull it back. I quickly looked at the elevation where we're at and what my speed had said. Of course, that doesn't mean much, it goes thin. But anyway, I had that. So when I come back and I checked with them, I had that plane going 680 miles an hour. And so at that point, I'm the fastest person in the world for those seconds, and maybe the highest up at 60 to 37 for the time. But so now that I get to the airport, the same guy that got me going all these other things, Kurt Irwin, who ended up as a general flying all the way through, and he said, are you going to join this? And I said, well, they only want captains and majors or something. He said, we need lieutenants who had been in combat. So I started in that, so I was an original lad. I stayed with them till I had my 20 years out. And during it, we started out with a P-47, and we had, how are we doing in time? Okay, so I was in college now, and I'm getting up to the point of graduation. We had our T-6s. But we didn't get our B-47s until about a month or 2 after I graduated. So if I took a job, I'd be off the boondocks, and I'd be airman flying. No thanks. So I'll go for a master's degree. Never did me any good except for one big thing. I got to fly 2 more years. And by that time, I found a place I could be close enough. Well, I was like our General Bush, when they're talking about him going somewhere else rather than the place from. I did the same thing. I had a place up past Albany, and the town right near Albany where they had another unit just like ours, and I could go to them on a Thursday nights deals together rather than going 120 miles to my place. So I did those for them, and of course the weekends I'm home and I'm flying there. But so now I got through that in the 2 years of that, and then it was then we got from that plane, we went to the the F-84, I think it's a 4. And but that was the craziest plane you ever want to fly. It had no power. And try to go off the runway. You never saw the speed you wanted, but you have to go anyway. So one day I'm going out there, and I got a guy on my wing, and we're getting down there, and I look, he's there, okay, and I go off, barely making it. And you sit there and you squish a little bit, you take a little bit of the lap down, and then you go up a little higher and take some more off. And I heard that I couldn't see him there. I figured, what, he's behind me. And I heard the tower call, he got out okay. Huh? I look back there, there's his airplane, he's walking out of it. What happened was, we always put our gas mask on, among other things, which our speaker was. So they had to give you gas oxygen, so he hooked us on here, and you bring that up there and hook the other on it. Well, we were told to take it up there, I don't recall him saying why, but anyway, but this time it happened to be down there, and he picked it up and put it here, and hooked on. Well, what happened was, this airplane goes down, it's a crazy plane, a negative deal, and you didn't do anything else but put it all the way, wait till it breaks, and then you can go start flying the plane. He couldn't get it back far enough. So here he is, full speed, full power, running off the end, bouncing around, and at one point he's skidding around, and there's a hole there, and it tore the nose off. That was enough to ease his dying. He got up, walked away. So,
tell me where the moniker "the boys from Syracuse" came from. Who originated that?
I don't know where that came exactly, but they've heard the name of whatever, the movie was way back, whatever, and I don't know, but we're in Syracuse, among other things, so that I can't recall. If I knew, I don't remember now. But it was sort of great. But we had not just men, that we had women, so that come a problem. So they don't use it anymore. That's a long story. But got a next?
I think that'll just about do it for us. We're at just under 25 minutes.
Okay.
So I want to say thank you very much for your service to our country, and thank you for granting us this time for this interview.
Okay. Well, you're not recording now.
Yes, we are. We're still going.
And, well, you can love this out. When people tells me, thank you for what we did for your company, I look at them and say, well, look at it this way. Look what the company, this word, our country did for me, making this beautiful, beautiful toy and let me flying it. So I thank you back for what you've done for me.
We now pronounce you the latest timeless voice of aviation.
What?
Thank you. But you are now the latest timeless voice of aviation.
And that's voice?
Timeless voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
All right, just sit still there. We'll get this microphone
okay.
off of you. Tell you what.
He named his aircraft just